actually, it's where they take a halfling. They take two halflings, they put them, they lash them to a pole and spin them around and hold them to the lantern. How's it going? Good. I think we should.
Hello.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
It's okay.
My bad.
It's okay. So I have the two screens going on, but the audio is going to be connected through my phone, which is pointed down at the desk. So hopefully the recording works. It says it's recording, and that it will focus on the workspace. But this is still here for whenever I want to like look up and talk to the camera. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Is your friend still going to join us today?
Oh, let me email her the link. Let me see.
Yeah.
Mine's 15 and
Here, I'm gonna call her real fast.
Okay.
fire to add my intelligence so that it would make it an 8. It's only once. I was reading it as a reaction to add. Yeah, because I mean, to me, it looked like at first level, it was a reaction.
That's terrible.
So if I keep getting attacked by things, I mess so up. But for one of those, okay.
Oh, that's fine. Nuts.
It's so it had 2 pages. There's a fighter and then
I called and texted. She's kind of bad about answering her phone, so we'll see.
Oh boy, it's okay.
I managed to successfully transfer my design to the
Oh,
line.
good. Good, good, good. Can you hear Galen in the background?
Yeah.
Okay. I will go shut the door. Okay, hopefully that helps.
Yeah. I'm gonna go grab my original sketch real fast.
Good idea. Okie dokie. So again, I don't know who all is going to show up today. Recording it anyways, or, oh wait. Oh, you're just not showing up. There we go, okay. I forgot what I was saying. I'm recording it anyways for whoever might want to watch it at a later date. Or if someone comes on like, hey, teach me the thing. I've already done the lesson. Here. There we go. That's good enough for now. Okay. 3 o'clock exactly. Good. All right, today is part 2 of the thing. Whatever we're doing. Printmaking. Relief printmaking. I can make my brain work. So I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. Tanner has claimed that Mokuhanga design, he wants me to redo it for t-shirt design for Unity's virtual training camp. So yay!
That's nice.
Yeah, but now I gotta like switch my brain on how to translate that to screen printing instead of woodblock. So was not about to challenge myself to like do all that in one day. So I got a 12 by 12 piece of Battleship Gray linoleum from Art Outfitters. What's awesome is they buy it in bulk on a roll, and so you can call up there and be like, I need this much of it, and it's dumb cheap to do it that way. But like that's our little art store here in Little Rock, and not everyone has that option. So that's mostly why I went ahead and put up the links to Amazon, and but definitely like for other people around the world or US watching this, like find your local art store and get the supplies and everything through them. Most likely, like if they don't have it, they're going to have catalogs and they can order directly from manufacturers and get exactly what you're looking for. It's just they don't keep everything in stock because that's expensive. So anyways, I was originally thinking I was gonna like do a normal size piece, and so I cut out 2 pieces that match my postcard paper that I like to print on, like little generic size. And so my pieces of linoleum are measured out so I can have my kento along the edge with plenty of space for it to fall. Bloop. See, Japanese postcard. Dumb cheap at the stores there, and it's great little generic paper to work with. Oh my god, it's dark. But then looking through my sketchbook, I wasn't really like, I have plenty of designs that would work on linoleum, but they'd all kind of be advanced like multi-plate things. So with the spare pieces, I started looking at other options, little moments in my sketches that I was like, oh, this would be fun and a little challenging to cut. And so little bitty pieces and have them on my tracing paper straight out of my sketchbooks. So this one is fun because it's working with just the texture of line, that you're using different weights of line, different directions of line to make this fun kind of graphic element. This came out of a sketch for a watercolor painting I did and sold at the sword fair that Unity did. So little Tory Gate. This would probably end up being more like a stamp than anything else because it's just such a graphic element. And the idea is that once I get this done, and because it's so small, even on the Battleship linoleum, because it's so small, similar to how you have your eye that you did before, like once it's cut out and it's small and I can shape it, I can plop it down onto a piece, and then I just add a little Tory gate to whatever other design there is. So fun little compositional element I can pre-build for other prints. This little, like, I keep coming back to this little sketch that I've done. So this is in my sketchbook as a nice little black and white ink doodle. I've also painted it with my natural inks before, and so I thought it would be fun to try to do it as a little lino cut. Again, playing with the idea of line, but this time it's more about the contrast between the light and dark, or the black and white areas, creating a light source and silhouettes. And so it's just so unbelievably tiny. It will be a challenge for me because of how delicate the cuts need to be, especially in this background area. The light source and the edging around the circular opening is actually going to be really fun because you can kind of be loosey-goosey with it, and it's just giving the effect of light by taking away the linoleum in these areas. So fun little personal challenging thing, but I would go really, really slow with this. So the one I'm going to end up demoing on today is actually this big guy. This is a combination of sketches. So last year I did that design for Riley's gi. It kind of saddens me a little bit, but it is what it is. I love how his gi turned out, don't get me wrong. But in the background of that design was supposed to be this abstract water element that I spent a lot of time like sketching and resketching, and I finally figured it out, and I created this background texture that was supposed to be embroidered with white ink or white thread, but it didn't get translated. Poop. But so this is basically 3 of those sketches combined into one to make this fun element that is playing with line weight. That's all this is, even though it's like, oh, swirly, swishy waterness. All it's doing is playing with line weight. So, oh, our AC turned on, so it slams the door. So, yeah, little apartment has its quirks. So this is the one I'm going to demonstrate carving techniques on. It's going to be the easiest to show off those techniques. However, this week, I'm going to try to carve up the other ones. So next week when we go to print, I'll have different examples of different things. This one I really want to print in blue. This little guy I want to print in black. And this little guy I want to print in red. So, and because they're awesome, they had these 3, so it's perfect. So I'm purposely going to carve things for the different colors. But that's next week. Printing is next week. Oh, I have to do a lot of like pre-things to get me ready for printing. But that's next week. We are going to concentrate on this today. Set all my little pieces to the side. You already have yours transferred, but I'm still going to go through the process of talking about how to transfer for the recording. So I did a no-no. What's the no-no I did?
Where's your little marky things?
Yes. That's it. Okay. So I don't have them. Oh no.
Why?
Because I wanted it to be a mistake to talk about.
I beat you to it. I put the little marky things.
Yeah, because you're a good student. So I have my design all sketched out. And so now I need to place my kento. But luckily, my paper is big enough on this side that I can put it over here. So there's this. I'm going to use a different color, lead. Oh, you can't tell. Well, it's red because the barrel's red. I love this little drafting ruler. I've had it for years. It's amazing. It's metal. I got it from, I wish they were a sponsor, Sketchbox. It's a monthly art material membership service, and it's a lot of fun if you want to experiment with different materials or just like get thrown different things to play with because you're bored and you want to learn and teach yourself. Sketchbox is definitely the way to go. They have 2 different tiers of boxes. For like 6 months I was getting the professional box and it was awesome and so worth the money. Anyways, I like centimeters a lot better, so count out on the centimeter side. Away. And then actually going to go from the lowest or the farthest point on this side, the centimeter. Abstract and absolutely not perfect. You should be perfect whenever you do this. Well, perfect is the wrong word.
Precise.
You should be more technically precise when doing this. But there we go. Okay. So this is where I want to build my kento. And so you're going to want to have it at, oops, here we go. Want to have it at this corner. Oh, look, I have one already built. Yay. And then I want the other line down here on this end. Boom. I'm just choosing a spot. Make my little half circle. Make my little 3/4. So this is where where's that noise coming from?
We got another person.
Claudia.
Might be echoing.
Oh, welcome, Claudia. That is what it says. So I have my corner kento and I have my straight edge kento over here. And this space is how much negative space is going to be around my image on this side. But what's awesome is my paper can still come out beyond where the block is going to land. So it can be bigger and frame the art better once we get to that stage next week. But when it comes to the kento, I like to go over it with ink to make sure it does not move at all in the transferring process. This is particularly important when you have multiple layers and you're constantly moving and swiping and rubbing, and it's just ink, pencil is going to do its thing and rub away. And I try to use a really fine point pen to do it with. Inking pen, drafting pen is fantastic. Because the more precise you can be, the better. And I know this is kind of really picky, but whenever you do this, you want to go on the inside of the line that you make. Because later on it's going to help with precision staying clean. Corner. And with the straight edge kento, it is good to have that be like 3 centimeters wide. So you have about 1 centimeter off both sides of the circle, because whenever you go to cut this Kento, you need plenty of space to build it. And that I'll demonstrate why later. Fine. Okay, so we have the thing. We have the Kento. Okay. So, this is the direction. Oh, it's Renee. Okay. Hi, Renee. This is the direction I want my composition to be when it is finished printed. So, I have to flip it over. Okay. So, this is where you want to keep the edge away from the, so you want to keep your Kento's edge away from the edge of the block, whether it's linoleum or wood. Keep it away so it doesn't, whenever you're carving, you don't chop off the edge of your block. So I am going to use some handy dandy Scotch tape. Woohoo! I'll only put the Scotch tape on one end.
Is that so you can check as you go?
Yep.
Okay. I was a bit riskier when I did mine. I just taped the whole thing down and did the whole thing and then peeled it all up, and I got lucky.
Yeah. So yeah. So you have that capability. Yep. That's good enough. Then if you used soft enough lead, you might be able to get away with just doing this. And we'll see, because I use my big honkin' this sucker. Big honkin' lead. And it's soft and awesome, and but the thinner lines were done with a different pencil, so I don't know how well they're gonna transfer. Let's see. You don't actually have to redraw over it, you just rub and it will transfer. It's okay. So, not completely happy with how that looks, so out comes, aha, transfer paper. And you don't particularly have to tape the transfer paper down. Oh no, are you not big enough? Oh, it's not big enough. Okay. I have my other stuff. You don't particularly have to tape your transfer paper down. It just kind of needs to stay still underneath your, oh, I forgot those were on here. It just needs it to stay still underneath your image you want transferred. So I have my non-photo blue instead. Okay. Okie dokie. When I am doing this, I like using a different color lead on this side so I can track where I've drawn. Just personal old habit. We'll see if the yellow works well. Yeah. Not gonna really concentrate on being perfect with this, because you just need your image drawn and the primary details recorded. I tend to be heavy-handed when I draw and sketch, so I have to be careful at this stage because I don't want to press it down really hard with my hands and leave strange impressions along the way. I messed up some of, like, whenever I was taking sequential art classes and learning how to do like the transfers, and oh my god, I messed up things. Just random palm prints in the middle of my transfers. Learn the hard way.
You're like, no, that was supposed to be there, totally.
Oh
I'm
man,
like,
nah.
for
It's
it.
just like this giant blue blob in the middle of a panel, and I'm just like, well, I don't know what that was supposed to be. Oh, that whole like entire torso of a person that I have a hard time drawing. Great. Erase, 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 erase. Let's try this again.
It's always the thing that you need help drawing that doesn't transfer right.
Yeah, man. Figure drawing is not my jam at all. It has never been my jam.
Me either, which is why when I went to pick a subject for this particular project, I was like, you know what I should do? A full body person. I was like, Kira, why?
But you chose someone that was in very stylized armor, so
Yeah, that made it easier. But the
yeah.
fact that he was walking did not help. Like all the limbs are slightly differently positioned. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's slightly
Perspective.
foreshortened, I think.
Yeah. Now, did you work from a photograph to do yours?
Yeah. I
Good.
just found one of the reference pictures and I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
I
yeah,
love working from reference photos.
it's my favorite. I stylized it more though. I put it in like higher contrast.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what you need to do for a project like this.
Yeah. Still a lot of detail, but I'll just have to be patient and go slow.
Mm-hmm. Damn it. Nope, there it was. Was that the first cuss word of the lesson?
It was. You've been doing so well.
See, I said I was heavy-handed. Broke my leg. Cussed.
It'd be like that.
So I know this part is boring. My bad.
It's okay. I mean, that was me yesterday for like 3 hours. I was like,
Yeah, I know. And it's something where like you have to build up this like patience with yourself for like zen state to be like, I know I've already drawn this thing 15 bazillion times while sketching, and then like I drew it really really well already to get like the transfer or to get it like the composition finalized, and then I drew it again to put it on the transfer or the tissue paper, and then again to transfer it, and then again to put ink on the like.
yeah,
You have to learn to love your art.
I've drawn this thing 6 times now.
Yep. Yeah, what's funny is I think it's easier sometimes maybe whenever like you're working for a client and you're interpreting something of theirs. So you don't have an attachment. It's just this mechanical, almost scientific process of I will make it look the same every single time. And so you just concentrate on that inherent repetition. And I don't know, I haven't gotten worn out as much on making a piece when I'm concentrating on someone else's drawing or design. But whenever it's my own, I have to really, really love what I'm doing and have a lot of confidence in it to put up with repeating so many times.
I can get how people would feel that way, but like we are the exact opposite in that like I need to have some attachment to this thing if I'm going to draw it 7 times. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the attachment in the other scenario is money.
That's true. That's true.
I am getting paid to do this perfectly every time. Okay, it's fine. I can concentrate on that.
Yep. My friend Grace still hasn't texted back, but she is a crazy person with her printing. She just freehands everything on the lino.
Yeah, I've done that a few times too, and the stuff's fine. It's just once I'm through it, I'm like, this part could have been better. This part could have been more refined, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the good part about this process and having to draw it many times is you get all the details worked out ahead of time. And you're
Yeah.
like, I know how that part works.
Yeah, working on compositional choices as you go to be like, this line in particular could be thinner. This one should be bumped up in the thickness. I should probably change the direction of this textural line like by 30 degrees or whatever. Yeah, go bold and go home on the I'm just going to freehand it on here and go for it. All right.
Yeah,
That is a life choice.
it really is.
And I've also had plates that I'll revisit even years later and be like, I liked what I did then, but if I do this and like I take out this section, I cut this away, and then I change it like this, oh look, it's a brand new piece and I didn't have to buy a new plate. That's kind of the subtractive method, because the final post that I made yesterday was subtractive method, and it's that snake.
Oh, so they like did one layer and then they cut away
More.
and then they did the next. Oh, that makes sense. I was like,
Yeah.
how? But that's really cool, actually.
Yeah, it's a fun process. It is terrifying because if you mess up or like if you skip a step, like you can't go back. You don't have that plate anymore.
Yeah, that can make for some very interesting limited edition prints.
Yeah,
You're like, I
and
made 3.
that's the point. Is that is the only edition of that image that can exist. Because some printmakers they'll do a first edition of like 50, the first edition of 50 prints, and it eventually all sells out, but like collectors or fans really liked the image, and so they'll do a second edition, and they can because they still have the plates, and typically they'll change something about like the color scheme or the paper that it's put on, so the second edition is technically different, still the same imagery. But when you do a subtractive method in block printing, nope, there is no second edition. It is only that one. But I think only very established printmakers can get away with that and have it be worth the risk and the price.
Yeah. How much did you get the lino for at Art Outfitters?
I got the lino and the 3 things of ink for like $27.
Dang, that's really good.
Yeah, so the 3 inks were $5 each. So that's 15 right there. So the 12 by 12 was less than $10 because of taxes and everything.
Well, that's where I'm going with that one.
Yeah. And whenever it's good fresh lino, like I just cut this down with scissors. You kind of got to muscle through it, but you have a good pair of scissors, and yeah, you can just cut it by hand that way. If it's a little older and it's stiffer, you just take your time with a ruler, a good metal ruler, and a straight edge, whether it's a box cutter or X-Acto knife, and just slowly cut through the linoleum. And yeah, so you can cut it down to custom sizes and shapes, if that is your fancy. Whoosh. Okay. Not everyone does what I'm doing here with the black lines. They'll just, dang it. They'll just do that and they know, oh my God.
You got this, Joe.
I do, I got this. They'll just leave that and they like somehow miraculously remember that that is all staying. And I'm like, no, not my brain. There's too many other things.
No, I had to go
brain.
in. I had to go in on my when I transferred it to the lino, and I had to actually shade in everywhere that needed to stay, because otherwise I would definitely carve out the wrong section. I know myself.
Yep. And I say and warn about that because I have made that mistake. And so I just take the little extra time and lead and transfer chalk to just shade in everything that is staying. Yep. I don't want to risk it. I don't want to mess it up again. Already drawn this so many times, and if I mess with the plate, I have to start over again.
Yeah.
No.
I have a question about when we go to print.
Okay.
So I saw in some of the things that you've done or that people have taught you have done where you do like a very slight gradient, and I know that that's difficult.
It's
but
not.
I was thinking it's not
magic. It's not difficult, and I was going to talk about that today.
Okay, cool. Because what I was thinking was for these like dust lines I've got here around the edges, I would make them kind of fade off. You know what I mean? Over here.
Well, so it all depends on how you're going to carve it, and that fade still happens on one plate.
Okay, that's what
you
I
print
figured.
that fade at one time, and it's actually how you put your slab down on the plate. And there's a particular way that you will roll the slab out to get that gradient. Some people call it a rainbow roll. It can be a blend roll. There's another term that I'm forgetting for it, but yeah, it's all the same idea that you have.
So when you put the
colors.
ink on the plate, or when you put the plate on the paper? Ink on the plate?
This is jumping ahead. Oh well. So when you get your ink out of your tube or tub or whatever, you put it down on a glass plate or stone plate. I prefer glass. And typically you have to warm it up. Literally, figuratively, warm up the ink. And so you're using a palette knife and you're scooping it around and moving it around and literally getting the molecules of the ink to wake up and be loose. So it will flow better on the brayer and it will go down more evenly and smoothly on your plate. So you do this thing where it's hard to show without the equipment, but you scoop, scoops, smear, smear, scoop, smear, make an X, scoop, smear. Then you push everything to the top of your slab and you a little bit, you draw out a line, maybe an X, and then you take your brayer and until you have a rectangle, a clean, like dear God in heaven, clean, keep it clean, rectangle of ink, and that is your slab. And so your brayer is now charged because it has ink evenly on it, and then you put the ink down on your plate evenly, and when it's one color you just go side, up and down, side, and whenever you can see when the ink is discharged, and so you charge again on your slab, more ink, put it more down, and you wait until you hear this hiss from the ink on the block to know that it's ready to be printed. So that's normal. That's just one tone going down at once. Oh wait, no, I have two lights for a reason. There we go. But with the blend roll, instead of having the one ink at the top, you have two. You have one ink here, And you're very careful that when you do it, the brayer stays in the exact position the entire time. And so when you get the little bits of ink to charge down onto your slab, you're rolling the exact same way, just up and down, up and down, up and down. And it slowly like blends together naturally. And you can scoot over a little bit to increase like the gradient, but you keep it the same the entire time. And when you put it on your plate, you go in one direction only the entire time. And so you have to pre-plan where you want the colors to fall on that layer to have the gradient happen on the entire layer, not just one section of it.
Okay, that makes sense. How would that work if you were trying to have like the ink get gradually less there or diluted? Like it's still one color, but it's just less.
So are you talking about the color becoming transparent as it goes down?
Yeah, so like if you have a line going across, it's way more pigmented on one side and more transparent on the other.
Exactly that. You use transparent base on one side of your slab and the ink on the other side, and you let it naturally gradate off.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool.
I do not know if there is a water-based transparent media. I don't know if it would just be water. That would be weird. I wouldn't trust that.
Well, that's why you have a block, so you can try more than once, I guess.
Well, because the water isn't going to stay on the surface the way that the ink does. I wonder if you can use like a thicken it medium. Well, the easiest thing is to just search if there's a water-based transparency additive. If so, that's going to be the easiest and most efficient thing to use. When I did my serigraphy class, which is fine art screen printing. Screen printing as a term is typically used for when it is going on fabrics or textiles of some sort. Serigraphy as a term is used when it's a fine art medium for printing on paper. Anyways, when I took my serigraphy class, I printed with lemon juice because I wanted this piece I was doing to be invisible until put under heat, and then it would slowly like appear on the paper in different ways each time someone ironed the paper. So it was like an interactive experience, whatever. But I had to make my own lemon juice ink. And I did that because there's this food additive called Thicken It. It is typically used for geriatric patients who have a hard time swallowing food, and because like liquids are too thin. And so you add this Thicken It stuff to it, like apple juice or porridge or different things like that. And the old people can swallow it easier. And so I literally mixed lemon juice with Thicken It and made, and it went down clear. I made a transparent ink out of it, and whenever I ironed my images, that's when my print would show up.
That's really cool.
So I'm wondering if there isn't a water-based transparent additive, if you could just literally use the Thicken It with water to make a clear solution. I'd be a little surprised if they didn't have a transparency additive, but you never know.
Cool. Well, it's definitely something to play around with as I do more tries of this print.
I still have that big old jar of Thicken It in my studio in Bryant. I need to go out there to get my brayer and slab and Baron. So I will dig through there and find it as well and play around with that next week too.
Cool.
Because now I'm curious.
Right? I was like, that'd be cool.
And the Thicken It is cheap. Like, I think I spent $5 on this big old canister of it ages ago, and I still have like 98% of that canister. So if it works, I will definitely drop some off at your house.
Awesome. That'd be super cool.
Yeah. Oh my God, almost done. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling completely fine. We actually all got our test results back, and all 3 of us came back negative except my mom. So it's been weird. But that was as of Friday afternoon, so who knows if that's still true.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously she's had it for a while and been in and out of the house before symptoms started showing. So bodies are weird.
I don't know.
But I'm glad everyone is doing okay. And is she still feeling tired, or is she feeling better?
She was still kind of tired, but she's been feeling a lot better. We still have to wait 14 days, but it seems like everyone's doing okay.
Good.
Yeah. Did you break it again?
Yes. Like I said, I'm heavy-handed. I know it.
Hey, who am I to talk? I literally broke a nib. It went.
No, that's normal. That, like, once I understood what kind of nib.
It scared me so bad.
Yeah, I've definitely had that exact same thing happen before.
It landed in my hair, like different.
Different bits, different
I was
places.
like, why?
Yeah, as long as it didn't hit you in the face, that's fine.
Yeah, or the eye.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, you're so close. I jinxed it.
See, with the graphite, I can have like different thicknesses and different hardnesses, and I've learned how to manage with that. And I love using these colored leads for various things, but they only come in one hardness, and it is soft. I will say this, like, the different colors have different hardnesses. Don't quite know what that's about. But this yellow seems like it is the softest of them all.
Did you succeed?
Transfer.
You did.
Huh?
You succeeded.
Except,
Yay.
what did I forget?
You forgot your little tick.
Yes. Again, though.
I did that first, so I was like, I was not forgetting that.
Okay. So once again, I use, oh my God, my straight edge. You're a monkey. Okay. Da, 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 da. Okay, good enough. Now I have my kentos. And my art is transferred, so I will take the paper. I keep all of my transfers in case I want to use them again for something else in the future. I already have them on paper. I typically just, the tape that I used on the block, then it just gets taped into my sketchbook. And it all lives together. And my desk is dirty now. This sucker will be your friend. It doesn't have to be exactly this one, but it is a little desk broom. I like it because it stands up on my desk and it's always there. There's drafting brooms and stuff like that, because you're going to be making a mess and you want the mess to stay out of your workspace. So yeah, having a little drafting broom is your friend. Something else that will literally save you. One of these. It's the little non-skid stuff that like grandma and grandpa put in their drawer. And this will keep your plate still while you are carving. That, like, it's not gonna wanna, okay, a little bit, but certainly less than if it's just so anyways, get some of this. It's cheap. You can get a lot of it. And yes. So I'm not going to worry about doing, normally I would then redraw this again with like a Sharpie or a permanent marker of some sort onto the block to make sure that it doesn't smudge away. But right now I want to talk about carving techniques. So the blade that you will want to start out with is this one, the straight angled.
Okay.
If you don't have one of these,
interesting variation. They gave me this, which
yeah,
I think that
that will be just fine. What will work better will actually be like a typical X-Acto blade. So, because what you want is this position. You want this very natural position of your hand, because this angle meeting the paper, or not the paper, the block, is the exact, that is still very sharp.
Yes, knives are sharp.
I wasn't expecting it to be as sharp as it still is. That is the exact angle you want for what we are about to do. Because we are going to go into the block at a specific angle, and your hand naturally goes to that angle. I'm sorry, you hold it this way. I'm an ass. On these, there's a cheat sheet. The blade shows up. You want it facing away from you. You want this side facing away from you. So when you go in, this natural angle happens, and you push away from you. So you keep your wrist straight, locked. You don't want this. This is bad. No, 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 no. Straight, locked. Put your finger here. Not here, that hurts. Put your finger here. And it's actually your left hand is what's going to force the blade to move. You keep your wrist straight and you make a straight line by pushing this way. This stays locked in place to make sure this stays balanced and at the correct angle. And you push. I feel like a poop head for repeating myself so much, but it's so simple. You kind of don't believe it until you just do it. If you have a little spare piece of linoleum, actually, I'll just use this as an example. Creepy smile is creepy. Okay. So we have our example. You will go to the outside of the line.
Okay.
You push in. And you always want this to be straight. Don't curve or force it around corners. Cut in, push, follow, 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 follow. Oh no, I messed up. Pull it out, push in. And you go straight, right along your line.
Okay.
It's the end, pull out. Turn your block. And angle it to where it's going to be a straight line when you push. Dink. Turn the block. You're going to turn your block a lot. Haha. Okay. Turn the block. That is the first outline cut. So now, go back to the beginning line. So our first cut was here. Now we're turning it this way. And our second cut is going to be like 1 millimeter away from that first cut.
To make
Again.
it a wedge thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I see. I understand.
Yeah. So go slow, press straight, and
then you peel it up.
yeah, and then it just boop, pops up. What? And see, what's awesome is because of that angle, because of this natural angle, when you have your measurements right, it just pops straight out. And what's great is this natural angle right here is the perfect level to when you ink it, the ink just falls off the side and it doesn't touch anything else. It's just gone, disappears, boom, clean. It's amazing. And so what's, I'm sorry?
Question. What if you have a curved shape?
Uh-huh. That's why I did a smiley face.
Oh, okay. I was like, this whole design almost exclusively is curvy shapes.
Oh yeah, you saw mine.
Yeah, yours is swirly.
All the swirls. And what is helpful is you go past, see, here, I went past, but up here, oops, sorry. Here I went past. Here I did not go past on my first cut. So on this first cut, if you go past your drawn line, when you do the second one, it pops off a lot easier. It just naturally wants to go away. And you want to be careful about not getting too close because you don't want to undercut under your drawing, because then on linoleum and cheaper wood, you will run the risk of the plate part, like what you want left, pop up. It's terrifying. Okay, so a curve. We're here. Go straight. Oh my gosh, but now I want to turn. So little turn. Move it. Little turn. Move it. I'm moving this way too much. Then straight.
Okay, so you just move the block a lot.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
mean, so you have like the barest minimum of this rotation with your fingers. So just this much. My wrist stays still. It's the curve of just turning my fingers. That's about all you get. So that's like maybe 5 degrees. A turn with your fingers. That's it. And yeah, you just very slowly go along and you just keep pressing forward. And whenever I was doing the Sakura piece, I just got to the point where I was lifting both my blade and the block at the same time and rotating it. I didn't want to pull my blade out of the block because I worried about going in at different angles and it causing a problem whenever I came back around. So. Galen is in the bedroom playing D&D with Jakes and his daughter Lily. So that's some of the nonsense you're hearing in the background if it pops up. I also got Galen into watching my favorite show in the world, Musketeers. And so now he's on a Musketeer kick with me.
Nice.
Okay. Man, I'm not used to this camera setup today. Like the little new stand I got from my phone so it can be recording, or like the second camera. It's just the gooseneck on it was a lot shorter than I was expecting it to be.
So when we're carving, how deep do we need to get the lines for them to show up?
I was just about to talk about that. So the generic answer is how deeply the blade naturally sets into it should typically be fine. You can kind of see how deep that is. So that doesn't seem very deep at all. Like my nail sticks into it for sure. What's really helping is that afterwards is when you're digging the pits. You're digging in the deep trenches around your piece. And this is where you go deep. Out here is where you go deep. And so what you are looking at is you're going to have, oh, that's hard to see. Black marker, you're my friend. Okay, so out here is going to be the deepest area. So in here. That makes it look like a really creepy clown now.
It really does.
This area is going to be the deepest. And that's where I'm taking my biggest U blade and just like digging in. Peel it out. I mean, you can kind of be aggressive with this part because it doesn't, like, this is just the doesn't matter part at all. So I'm getting down in there. If you start to see burlap, you've gone too far. The burlap is keeping the structure of the block, so don't cut into it. So I guess this is a 6mm or 9. Crap, I don't remember. So I'm cutting basically to the natural depth of my U blade. That it's almost as deep as just where my blade naturally goes down into it. That is plenty deep. You don't have to force it any farther than that. Then I have my smaller U. And so then that's where I have the detail of being careful and coming up to the edge of the line that I've already cut. And I'm coming down into the pit. So I'm making a slope. Just a nice little kind gradual slope. It's really hard to show. Give me a second. I'm gonna go off camera for this. Okay. All right. So then I have. Does that help? Dang it. I need shadows showing up. Well, crud. So right up in here is, dang. Okay. So right here is the line from the first carve. The 2 outline carves is right here. And then it fades off into this slope that it just very quickly comes down the side into the deepest area. That's what you're going to do to keep the clean edge of the printing area and then the valley of safe space to protect your design. And with wood in particular, you have to be very precise with this. I think linoleum is going to be far more forgiving with this carving technique, but it gives you very clean edges that's easy to carve away from to create your design. So yes. In smaller spaces like this, I haven't done let me do the 2 outline cuts on this quickly. Okay. In smaller negative spaces, like in between my 2 eyes, you don't need to worry about a deeper valley there because the paper touching each other right here is going to protect it from kissing down on the surface. So you just kind of already start off with your smaller one and dig out the valley that way. And so when I get up to the outline cuts that I've done, I don't tuck the blade into the printing area. I actually curve it away. So I'm coming along the edge of it at an angle to actually protect the shape and to protect that slope up to the printing plane. So yeah. I like to cut my big valleys first, and then I will come along and use smaller and smaller blades to get up to the edge of the print